I love going to Starbucks. It's one of my favorite coffee spots. And I love the fact that as an organization, it tries really hard to be socially conscious. They even shut down their stores and did diversity training. They really care about pleasing their customers. So you can imagine my surprise when I walk into a Starbucks and find this note on the wall.
It starts, "Welcome to Starbucks." That's very nice. We strive to create a culture of warmth and belonging and respectfully request that everyone, okay, that's a really nice introduction.
And that's followed with a series of headings. And under each heading is a sentence. The headings are okay. The sentences, they've got some problems. Listen to this. Sleeping, smoking, consuming alcohol, drug use, or improper use of restrooms is not permitted. Loud or unreasonable noise is not tolerated. Obscene, harassing, abusive language or gestures are unacceptable. Violating any law, ordinance, or regulation is prohibited. This is very well intentioned, and I understand why they're posting a notice like this.
The problem with this sheet is that they were so concerned with the content that they didn't stop to listen to the tone of voice. The rules as they're written are yelling at us. This is not permitted, not tolerated, unacceptable.
Those kinds of statements alienate me as a reader. I'm not a child. Don't talk to me like I'm 5 years old. Do this. Don't do that. Don't ever let me catch you doing this. Do you really think this is a way to talk to another adult? I can hear the finger wagging while you're saying this. This is unacceptable. This is intolerable.
But it contains only examples of negative behavior. There's no example of positive behavior anywhere on this document. This sounds like it's written to address people who are doing the wrong thing. But you should want to address the people who are doing the right thing, too. It would have been much better to say something like,
play your music at a reasonable volume.
I mean, just a thought, you might want to use the word please somewhere. The third thing that's wrong with this is the gratuitous use of value judgment statements. They could have just listed, we ask that you not do any of the following behaviors, without the value judgment statements of is not permitted, is not tolerated, are unacceptable. Frankly, I expect you to be able to tell me that in a much nicer way, without sounding like you're a parent scolding a child.
Obviously, this isn't just a Starbucks problem. A lot of organizations have really poorly worded rules. Rules that sound like they're yelling at you, that somebody's wagging their finger at you. I've already done a number of videos about them, and I'm sure I'll continue to do some more. I'm sure that the people at Starbucks who wrote the rules with this wording are not mean, nasty people. I don't believe that this wording represents the way they would talk to you if they were speaking to you face to face. They've used this type of wording because it's typical of the way people think rules should be worded. And that's what we're trying to get away from. Rules can be strict and still be respectful.
Now, we know that Starbucks is a socially responsible organization. This is not Starbucks intending to be condescending. This was something that fell off the radar. Nobody paid attention to the tone of voice, and that's very common.
All we have to do to fix this is train the people who write the rules how to write rules properly.
If you see this sign on a Starbucks wall, point it out to the manager that you find the tone of voice disrespectful. Now, the manager can't change the sign. It comes from head office, but they can pass along that particular criticism. If enough people do that, head office will get the message.
And if you want to give them a more constructive suggestion, I have absolutely no objection if you want to recommend that they buy my book, How to Write Rules That People Want to Follow. And thank you for that in advance. One other point I want to make, something very interesting about this particular case. I've shown this to a number of my contemporaries, and they looked at these rules and they agree that, you know what, these sound terrible. And then they say, you know, they have a lot of millennials as customers, and millennials won't put up with this tone of voice. They won't put up with being spoken to like this. And okay, that's really interesting. And I ask, but why do you put up with being spoken to like this? And I always get the answer, well, I guess I'm used to it. Well, you know what? We shouldn't be used to it. It's time that we stopped accepting it. There is no reason that someone who wants me or you as a customer should be speaking to us in that tone of voice.
Till next time, this is Louis Eisen at Perfect Policies.